from everybody who is a member of this committee and anybody who may be present, okay? We need to come together. We've got a duty to fulfill for this county. We've got roles and responsibilities to do. Let's come together, let's work together, and let's do this for the county and for our people that we represent. And let's do it in an appropriate manner. First item is going to be a prayer. I'm going to ask Mayor Mason if you would please lead us in that prayer.
Kind of gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you today for the ability to come together and meet and discuss our business. Lord, we ask you to bring us a peace and a sense of calm, Lord, to do the work that we're supposed to do. Lord, we thank you for all your many blessings, and we thank you most of all for your Son, Jesus Christ. In his most kind and gracious name, amen.
Amen. Stacy, will you please call the roll?
Barry Smith.
Here.
Jeff Mason.
Here.
Cordell Smith.
Here.
Justin Malden.
Here.
Erica Abel. Here. Scotty Lewis.
Here.
Mickey Barrett.
Here.
We're all here.
All right, everybody is accounted for and present. That means we have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is public comment. I do not have anyone who is signed up for public comment. I want to make sure, is there anybody present who did not sign up that would like to speak? All right, we will move on to the next item on the agenda is the approval of the January 23rd, 2024 minutes. Those are before you. I'll give you a moment to look over those if you need to, and I will take a motion if somebody would like to approve them.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Mayor Mason, second by Mr. Smith. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. Respectfully, since I'm president, I just feel like I need to abstain. I'm not doubting the minutes, but I wasn't there, so I just feel like I probably should.
That'll be fine. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? And if the record will reflect the abstention. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is the Financial Management Act of 1981 implementation timeframe, or the county financial, CFMS is what you may hear. County Financial Management System of 1981 is what the statute calls it technically. Part of that process, and Jeremy, you jump in here at any point to elaborate, we do have to have an implementation plan by statute that has to be presented to the commission. That's what the statute says. I'm fine presenting it to the Board of Education too. Statutorily, it just refers to the commission though. The commission doesn't take any action on it. The commission, they don't have any say-so in it, but statutorily, it's almost like a courtesy notice to the commission is what is required by the statute. So statute requires that, and then also for our sake, so that we have an understanding of where we're at, where we want to get to, when do we want to do implementation, and that process. Before you will see a proposed implementation timeframe. I worked through this with Attorney Hassler on that. These are target dates. It's not necessarily set in stone. We've got some, things can be adjusted as needed, but we do have to have an implementation plan correct to work from. So that is what is before you. I'll give y'all a moment to look over that, and then we can go into discussion or questions or approval of that, amendments, tear it apart, do whatever we need to do with it. Understand as part, I guess I would just say, as part of the process, the first thing we have to do is hire a finance director, a director of finance statutorily. That's the first thing that we do. We won't start actually looking at policies and procedures until that director of finance is in place. And once that director of finance is in place, we can go through that process of discussing those policies and procedures. You'll notice there's certain things in there regarding application process to do that, and the time frame for that, as well as beginning to review those policies and processes. The reason that doesn't occur until April on here is because it has to take place after the finance director is hired. So can't take place before then. And then you'll see some other things. There is in July, I want to point out, it says implementation notice published in newspaper and other local media outlets. With notice that policies and procedures will be made available August 1st. Per the statutes, we have to publicly notice that the county has adopted this, when it's going to take effect, and when the policies and procedures will be available for vendors, for employees, for the public, and those things.
Are these suggestions, or are these already in?
No, this is a suggestion. That's why it says proposed, yeah. Yeah, it's proposed.
But some of those, like the notice published.
We have to do a
the plan to the
notice,
county
yeah.
commission, those are
Yeah,
within
there's-
the law that we have to.
Yeah, there's certain statutory, yeah, we have to do a plan to the county commission, and we have to do the newspaper notice. And it's got specific things, and the attorney can spell out those specific things that have to be in there, so.
I have a question. We have discussed about having them come in for interviews. I don't see that in the March timeframe.
We can schedule another meeting, that was what that March 7th would be for us to,
Almost like have them come in for
Yeah.
interviews.
Yeah, it's supposed,
So it says meeting to discuss, Director, so we would.
we could then
do
schedule,
interviews With that as well.
or schedule another meeting, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if we needed to.
It's basically a moving, working timeline. I mean, there could be a day or two adjustment here or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that's why it says that,
We
yeah.
don't get something, we move something
Yeah, I
around.
mean, it's
Yeah.
not gonna derail the universe. I mean, I don't wanna slow anything down, but I mean, if something happens and we have to adjust a day or two because of interviews, that's not gonna
Right.
slow the universe.
Yeah, and that's what that says, that's why it says they may be adjusted as needed. This is just to give us a working plan to go through.
The thing that you said are statutorily right now is the submission of implementation plan to county commission,
Mm-hmm.
the notice published in the papers, everything else in there that's, there's some little stars by them.
I mean, we have to hire a finance director.
Oh, I mean-
The deputy director, there does have to be a deputy director appointed. The reason, in talking with the attorney, we did that at the very end is because until you know who your staff is and who's going to be on your staff, there's no point in appointing that deputy director because it doesn't have to be done before implementation is completed, so. That's why that's down there at the bottom. That's not something, it's not like the director of finance that has to be hired first.
so the director of finance doesn't have to be hired first.
It does,
That's what I thought.
yes, yeah.
He's talking about the
The
deputy.
deputy, that's why it's at the bottom, because it doesn't have to be.
And, to your point, everything on here.
Oh, well, it
has
is.
to
It's
be
I'm just
workable,
saying-
yeah.
As
It's,
far as timeline,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the only thing that has a set time is the implementation plan has to be submitted to the county commission by July 1st of the fiscal year in which you plan to implement.
Yep.
So that's the only, it can be done before, but it has to be
So if we're doing it
submitted
this year,
So
it's
if-
gotta be
if you're-
July 1st this year. If we're doing it next year, it's gonna be July 1st of next year.
fiscal year, right?
Yes, yes.
So, if the target to implement is anywhere between July 1st and June 30th of next year, July 1st of this year, June 30th next year, then a timeline has to be submitted to the commission before July 1st.
Gotcha.
And it just made sense for that to be the first thing, get a roadmap, made sense to be the first thing to do anyway.
Can the interview of the applicants, can that be like at a time frame to where, that just, the one we're interviewing can be in at one time and then the
yeah,
next one?
and we can discuss that on the next item. That's the thing, I didn't put anything specific in here, and the attorney and I talked about us doing interviews because we want to make sure we can get a time that workable for all of us. So that's why we discussed that, but I didn't specifically put that in here for that, so. It's not in here, but that doesn't mean, the absence of it being in here doesn't mean we can't do it. Any other questions in regards to that? Anything y'all think needs to be adjusted?
I was thinking we may end up having to adjust it.
Yeah.
or two, depending on-
Oh, yeah. Well, that's, when we start going through because when we go through this process, we're gonna have to pull Board of Education in. We're gonna have to see how you guys do things, what your department heads do. Same thing here. We're gonna have to pull these departments in and understand how everybody's operating to make sure that we,
It just may take more
Yeah.
time or less time.
Yeah.
I mean,
the benefit that we are under, at least on the county side, because we are under the 57 Act, we're centralized. So Mickey's department is already centralized under finance. So it's not an adjustment, it's not gonna be adjustment for the roads department because Mickey's already doing centralized. Commission, and I'll be glad if Mr. Lewis or Mr. Smith, if y'all wanna take it to the Board of Education or however y'all wanna do it, just
motion
a
approved.
motion to approve by Mr.
Second.
Lewis. Second by Ms. Ebel. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the Director of Finance application and hiring process. So prior to the litigation that took place, the last action that this committee had taken, we did approve the qualifications for the Director of Finance. And I apologize, the ones that are included in the packet are not the correct ones. I will be glad to email those to y'all. If y'all remember, we approved, it was a shorter, about a page and a half. I think Mr. Lewis had printed off what I'd sent him.
Yeah, you simply just barely, just a page and
Yeah,
two lines.
yeah, it wasn't too long.
It's not all of this.
Yeah. The reason, we discussed, we went with the shorter because the problem is we don't know what the duties of the finance director is going to be yet, because we got the statutory duties, which are in those qualifications. But beyond that, we don't know. We haven't set policies and procedures. We don't know what the director of finance, all the duties are going to be of it. So that was part of why we had shortened it down. We had tied it was a salaried position tied to the trustee salary. That's currently what we do under the 57 Act, and that's every county that I know of ties that salary to the trustee. Now, most counties tie it directly 100%. There are some counties that are different. Fentress County's 80%, Warren County's 120%, but that's the reason we had tied it to the trustee salary. We had done some adjustments requiring experience, CCFO certification, and some other things. Those qualifications were approved, okay, prior to anything being done, and as far as I know, those, attorney, you correct me, those qualifications still stand unless this committee wants to take action to change it, or do we want to, or reaffirm? Either way.
There was nothing that was done that negated anything prior to now. I guess is the best way to say that. So with that said, whatever was done previously still stands as action taken by this committee. Should you, at any time, this committee can change its previous action, so should you have any changes you'd like to make, you're welcome to do that. But as far as starting all over, I don't think it's necessary for you to do that, because nothing that occurred negated action previously taken. So where you stand right now, as far, in my opinion, is where you left off with the approvals that you already did. Obviously, I would advise you to open up the application process again, because the litigation happened in the midst of that, so I think it would only be fair to do that. But as far as anything up to that point, I don't see a necessity to change anything unless it's the will of the body to do so.
Yeah, the applications were open for, I think, 2 days. Before the litigation occurred, so the process stopped there. So
Well,
I don't-
I can say I don't see reason to change anything. I mean, there's nothing that violates the statute or steps outside the boundaries of the law or anything. So I don't see any reason to change anything. Language in look fine to me.
okay, and then with that, we don't have to take any action then, because those qualifications are still binding. Yeah. Yeah, if everybody's in agreements with that, we don't have to take action on the actual qualifications themselves. They still stand. So, the attorney hit on the next point, is the application process. The applications were only open 2 days this last time. I don't even know, I don't know if we got any applications, because we never ventured down that path, once everything happened. So my ask in the time frame was to reopen the applications, leave it open until the date that was specified in here, which I believe was March 1. Those would be submitted to HR within the county, and then we will distribute those to all the members of the committee on March 4th. So by the close of business March 1st, March 4th, we'll get them, and I'll make sure that they're distributed to all the members of this committee. I talked to the attorney. If there's any, we will redact any personally identifiable information that we don't need to be electronically committing or communicating, but we'll distribute those. Yes, Mr. Lewis.
Just whenever, I have a question, and I promise you, I'm not gonna draw this out, I'm trying to run through this. But I have to say this, because I've already promised people calling me that I'm gonna say this. So ethically, or morally, or however you wanna throw it, I'm gonna say it, and then the committee, however anybody else feels. But I really have not been following any of this. That's why I asked you for minutes going backwards, because
Yep.
when I get home, I'm tired. I don't sit and just watch all this stuff, you know what I mean? If it doesn't involve me, I'm just done. But since I've been on here, I've been getting phone calls. Not, well, like you get calls on the roads. And the thing that keeps getting put to me, and I can't answer it, but I think the public has a right to hear it. But it's like, I'm getting calls, and they're not complaining, and they're not condemning people, or making allegations like, oh, you just got somebody picked out of blah, blah, blah. I ain't got any of that. But they're wanting to know, we live here and pay taxes here, why can we not apply for a job? And I said, well, the committee made a decision. I don't know what all that was based on. I get what some of them saying. There's very few people here in this county that meet the qualifications that statute requires, you know what I mean? The majority of them are already employed by the county or the school board, one of the two. Now, I seriously doubt that somebody that would, be a CPA or something would leave a six-figure job to put this on, you know what I mean? So I guess what I'm asking is, if the committee, since you're reopening it, would you allow it to where just the public can apply if they qualify? I understand their point. They live here, they pay taxes here. If they don't qualify, they don't. But at the end of the day, have we done the right thing by allowing them to? Because the committee is going to pick who they think is the best, irregardless of who applies. Does that make sense?
Now, if you want, at this point, if you want to make a motion to open it up, that's up to you.
I mean,
So-
I looked on, like, for example, when I started getting calls, I thought, there be that many CPAs in this county? Surely not, so I got on Commerce Insurance, got looking. You can look on their website, they'll tell you, how many licensed CPAs and all that. Less than a handful of BBs down here, So I'm not expecting, like, saying that, I don't expect us to get a flood of applications. But, to be completely fair and honest, clearly, a lot of people are watching what we're doing, you know what I mean? And I think that everybody in here, and anybody can correct me anytime I'm wrong, because I'm old and I get confused. But I think everybody in here wants completely crystal clear transparency, no, you know what I mean? No, segregating anyone or anything like that. And I haven't had anybody even mention me that's interested in the job, not a single soul. But I kind of understand, we represent the taxpayers, we represent the public, and just because I've had 3 or 4 phone calls doesn't mean anybody else had anything said to them, but I'm not doing my job, I don't think, if I don't bring that to your attention and ask the committee how they feel since we're redoing it, because right now, in this group, you're the county mayor, and y'all are with the county commission, you're the road superintendent, I'm on the school board. But that is not what we are right here in my mind. My school board hat's over yonder. We're on the finance committee to make this thing work. That's my job here. I'm not here to see this fail. I don't like to lose anything. So I'm gonna see this, move along, let's get on with it, blah, blah, blah. But I've lost sleep over that. I understand where they're coming from, but would there be a flood? There may not be a single soul outside the public do it. I don't know, I've just gotten the calls.
Yeah,
So-
my question would be, do you think that we have people within the county, within the Board of Education who are qualified and could do the job?
I think based on the data I have seen on the state website and who's licensed and who's this, that, and the other, that there are people that live in this county. Now,
I'm talking about employees, I'm talking
He's talking about our employees,
about, do you believe that we have a county employee, whether the county, the roads department, the Board of Education, that is qualified and able to do this job?
well, that's a tough question since I don't know what this job's going to end up being. Actually, this is our first step. We're, as you said, we're detailing this, Do I think it's within the county and school system? That's your question.
Do you believe that there's somebody capable of doing it within, that's already
I can answer
employed?
you honestly, within the county, I have no idea because I don't, I can't tell you who works in the mayor's office. I don't know, you know, like I had to contact you about me. I don't know. I don't follow all of that. Do I think there's somebody in the school system that would probably qualify? I would think so, but I haven't had anybody that's told me they had zero interest in this, so I'm not, you know,
So-
I'm not like waving a banner for somebody. I'm just saying, I've had some people in the public say, why can't somebody apply if they qualify?
So-
That's all.
So my thing is, we promised everybody they'd get to keep a job,
Yeah, I don't want anybody
you
to lose a
know,
job.
and so that's part of it. And going along with that, I think we got multiple people in this room right now who could do that job, who could be the director of finance,
I mean,
who were here in this room. And if we promised everybody that they're gonna be able to keep their employment, and we know we have capable people, I'm not saying that there's not anybody out there in the county that couldn't do it. Why would we pass over our own people?
Well, and I'm not saying pass over on people. Nobody, even if you advertise it publicly, nobody would lose a job, in my opinion, because I don't think anybody on this committee would allow that. But at the same time, I would seriously doubt that you got more than one application if you got that. But at least we could say we didn't segregate anybody or whatever. But it's up to y'all.
Well,
Just one-
and the way that we had initially done this was it was internal, but we're not tied. We were taking applications internally, but that doesn't tie us to hiring internally. If we go through the process and we don't believe that we have somebody qualified that can do it, we're not bound to hire internal. It's just, we start the process, application process internally. We could hire internally, but if we don't find somebody qualified, then we can open it up. It doesn't bind us internal.
Right, I understand. And again, I'm not trying to slow anything down, but I'm just trying to say, I'm getting questions, and so I settled that. And I'm not trying to put you in a hard place, but I don't know the answer.
Yeah, no, that's fine. If you want to, if you want.
Keep talking, Mr. Cordell's got a question over there.
I want to make sure, even if we don't hire Ms. Mitchell or Ms. Denton, I want to make sure that they keep their jobs. We promised them
They
that.
cannot, I will never, I'm gonna tell you right now, here's my feeling.
We
It
promised
don't
them.
matter what we do as this committee, you know, county commission hats off, school board hats off, this committee has got to win for this to succeed, period. End of story. We're totally, right here, it's on our shoulders. But no matter if you advertise or whatever, I would never vote for any employee that we have to lose a job, ever, ever, ever. No matter if you advertise it and you say, golly, where'd they come from? You know, I really like them or whatever. You can interview them, but that still doesn't mean that you have to hire them. Or it will never, in my mind, I mean, we're appointing the director correctly. Okay. In my mind, no matter who you appoint or who we appoint, whatever, they made plain to them, there's nobody losing a job. That's been said from day one. I will never vote for anybody. You can mark it down. I'll never vote for anybody to lose a job in this. There's no reason to.
Well, that was made clear in agreement.
We gave our word.
Yes, sir.
As a commission.
Not gonna do it. And here's the other thing, I mean, we don't even know for sure. You know, we might have 3 or 4. You know, the director may come back and say, because we're leaning heavily on them to get this structured, you know, a month or 2 into it, they may say, whew, wait, I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm gonna have to have one more. You see what I mean? That could feasibly happen. We don't know how this thing is gonna unravel, and so I'm just kind of putting it out there. You have my word, I'll never vote for anybody to lose a job, period, no way whatsoever. But I'm just saying, it has been asked of me to bring that up.
Well,
So,
we don't-
my due diligence.
We don't have a motion on the table for anything. If you would like to make a motion,
I would
then,
like to make that motion, but included in there again, nobody lose a job. And this committee still does a recommendation, you know what I mean? So this committee still hires whoever they want to. So that doesn't change anything. And I don't know a single soul out there, again, that will apply. Nobody's approached me, nobody's asked me, but I did say that I would bring that up, so I'm coming in here
Okay.
first time, y'all,
Let-
to be fair enough.
let me, I want to make sure, can you state your motion so that way we make everybody
Yes,
here
I would
understand?
like to say that I would like to make a motion that the position of director of this be advertised in the time frame that y'all would want to set to try to expedite this, because we can't drag our feet on it. allowing anybody in the public who meets the qualifications to apply as well, and then expedite it.
In Smith County or any county?
Say again?
Open application?
Open, yes, ma'am, and then if it, if we get 3 or 4 applications, we'll do it.
Well, okay. I got a motion, I need a second.
Let me ask.
That's what I wanna-
Is his when you say public, are you saying, you spoke previously about people in the county. When you mean public, do you mean public as in an open public application process, or are you wanting to restrict it to any type of location?
No, sir. And I understand your point. I feel the same about this as I do like the school board. When we go to hire, I want somebody from this county first, if we can get it. If we can't get
Okay.
it, then we'll get a teacher somewhere else.
I want to make sure we get the motion and second
Well,
on the table,
That's
yeah.
what
So-
we don't have a motion to second yet.
Well, I want to get the motion, so the motion is to post it publicly for anyone to apply.
It meets your qualifications.
Right, yes, I mean, they have to meet the qualifications, but it's being publicly posted that meets,
Now, that would include, and I'm talking about our people in our county that work here and live here, but also every single county or school board employee that wants to apply, because that's what's already in there irregardless.
But let me see if I'm
Time out.
understanding.
Time out.
Pardon me?
Are you saying within Smith County only, or you want to like?
That's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah.
That's what-
Yeah, that's-
what I asked.
I'd like to see people at home get a job, but not restrict it, you know what I mean? If it comes back to the committee, go ahead, Christie.
The problem I have with just the Smith County deal.
Time out. We don't have a second yet. We don't need to get into discussion. That's what I'm trying, the motion is to open the Director of Finance applications to to anyone. So it's going to be a public application process for anyone who meets the qualifications. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Not just limited to Smith County or state, anywhere.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Get on to discussion.
All right, so I got a motion by Scotty to publicly post the Director of Finance position. Now, obviously, that person's gonna have to meet the qualifications, which we'll go through that when we meet, so. Motion and second is on the table, Mr. Smith.
So I want to be for sure that I'm understanding this correctly. We are not going to limit this to Smith County residents only, because I already see a problem if we do that. So it's statewide, nationwide, that's what you're saying.
I'm saying, don't segregate anybody.
You can make a motion to amend it if you want, to Smith County only.
No, and the reason I say no on that, because that wouldn't be fair to Miss Mitchell over. She's not a resident of Smith County, and if we limit it to Smith County only, that's
She
gonna,
is with the school board.
But
She's an
we would have to amend it
You'd have
to,
to amend it, though.
Employees or residents
Yeah.
of Smith County.
As long as, that's what I was saying a minute ago. I
Or
want to
you can
make
make a
sure.
friendly amendment to your own motion.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that it includes employees from both sides, regardless of where their residence is, but make it public,
Right.
Does that make sense?
it does. I just didn't want it to be left open and it cut her out.
No, sir, I don't want anybody cut out, on either side. But anyway, thank you for your time on that.
yeah, I've got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Let me make sure.
Clarify between the last two, to make sure I'm understanding what we did have versus this one, but it sounds like it's the same. I thought it was opening up, what you're saying, and that sounds like it's the same.
Well, that's what I was about to confirm. Do you want to, you never made, your motion is still on the table that it's open applications right now. There was discussion about making it residents of Smith County or employees of Smith County, but you never made that amendment. So right now, it's still open unless you want to make that amendment.
And he would like to, I'm gathering, he'd like the amendment to cover anywhere,
I want-
so
I want to
would
make-
that amendment.
I want to make an amendment to make sure that Miss Mitchell does not get cut out by some,
But it is limited in scope, though, to the.
Well, right now, it's still open, so Ms. Mitchell would be in it. Yeah, his,
Limited to the scope of
It's
already.
open to current employees of either the Board of Education, the county, or any Smith County resident, or is it open to Board of Education, county employee, or anybody?
right now, from me, from the chair, I've got on the table, I haven't seen another amendment. It is your original motion is still on the table, open applications. Your motion was vague. It just said you want to cover Ms. Mitchell, but I don't know what that means, so I will need you to further
It was
clarify.
already covered. She's
already covered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Open application.
Yeah, open, yeah, that's
would
right,
be
that's right, we're right, yeah, so
It
open.
will cover everyone.
If,
An open
if,
application.
so the discussion is, if somebody wants to make this motion, because this is where the discussion is led, do we limit it to residents of Smith County and employees of the county? That way, somebody out of Nashville who is unrelated to Smith County applies.
If I meet these qualifications of this motion, and I just live in Newton Heights, would I be eligible even though I'm not an employee of the
Yes.
government?
Yeah, right now it's open, right? Yeah, right now it's anyone.
Okay, that's what I was trying to clarify.
Yeah. It's,
Yes.
the motion on the table is still an open process. Nobody has made an amendment to limit it
As
yet.
of right now, it is open.
Well, I mean,
If-
just to be crystal
be voted
clear
on.
of
Yeah.
my intent with this motion, crystal clear of my intent. I mean, I want people of Smith County, that's who's calling me, that's who we're representing. If they feel like they should have a right to apply, then yes. However, my thing is, we already said that every county employee and school board employee is included no matter what. Am I correct?
Yes, Mayor. Yes,
They're
sir.
included no matter what, right, Mayor? So if we opened it up to the people of Smith County first, you know, and say we had no application from anywhere, then go outside the county, but Smith County and then the employees that are already on the list,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying.
So you want to do a friendly amendment, make sure I've got this correct, to limit it to residents of Smith County and employees of Smith County,
Yes.
and that road department, Board of Education
Or
county.
Any,
Okay.
any
Okay.
employee of Smith County, and I just say that, and I won't shut up, but, you know, we represent Smith County, this home, and if by some fluke, nobody applies or whatever happens, we can always go outside the county, but we'll take care of our home people. But, I mean, this is where we live, we're neighbors, we should take care of one another, that should be that way.
I have a question. So if you're saying employees of Smith County, would that also possibly include employees of the municipalities?
I think you
They're,
do.
yeah, they're.
So that's under,
Well,
not
they-
Smith
they-
County government.
No, they would be
Smith
county residents
so
if they live here.
If they
Some of
are,
them may not be residents, and they might be employed by the municipalities.
Well, you don't have anything in here about municipalities, you've got Smith County government and Board of Education.
we're gonna get pretty convoluted if we try to
Yeah.
expand it, I think, that far. If it's gonna be employees not only of this county government, but basically your motion is, you would have to amend any employee of any local government within Smith County.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Right now, from what I understand it, the motion that has been amended, although I don't guess you've affirmed your second, but, is to open the applications to any resident of Smith County or any employee of a branch of Smith County government.
Correct.
That's the way I understand the
And do
current.
the municipalities fall under
They
a
do
branch
not.
of Smith County government?
They
So
do
I'm
not.
asking.
They do not.
Okay,
The municipalities
so that's
would
what I'm
not.
asking. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, let's say you had like a qualified person working Carthage City Hall, you know?
If they weren't a Smith County
they weren't a
resident, the
Smith
motion
County
right
resident.
now, they would not be eligible, correct,
Okay.
as the motion stands currently.
And I hadn't gone that deep into it because it didn't
So-
include, you know, city government stuff, but that is.
I want to make sure we got the right thing on the table. Do you want to withdraw your initial motion and then make that motion to limit it to residents or employees, residents of Smith County or employees of Smith County government?
Yes, sir.
Government, okay.
That's my, that is my
Okay.
question.
So I've got that motion. I need a second for that.
I'll second it.
Okay. So I've got a motion by Scotty and a second by Erica. Do we have any other discussion? I know we've been discussing it quite a bit, but any other discussion? I will say this. I believe, and I will stand by this, that I don't want to pass over the people we have already employed. Because I believe that we have employees, and like I said, multiple employees in this room right now who can do the job. And if we have employees who can do the job, because reaching out and talking to other counties, the biggest thing, the number one thing that I have been told, and it's been, with the exception of one county, I'll say Warren County stressed education quite a bit, but all the other counties have stressed, find somebody who can do the job. You are hiring somebody who can do the job. and they stress the experience is the key. And if we've got people here who have been doing government financing and accounting and bookkeeping, and they know what they're doing, why would we seek elsewhere? And I'll just ask this because I don't know. Do y'all post internally at the Board of Education on positions from time to time, or is everything publicly?
Even probably the lowest paying job that we have is custodians, and we post that job out on the
Okay.
public. But again, coming back to what you're saying, I'm not saying we do not have qualified people, but
Yeah.
what I am saying is, we've been transparent with folks that live here, allow them to apply. Then we know the people that work in county government, if they want to apply, I don't know who they are. But, you know, if they've been working for county government, they're qualified, the committee still makes the recommendation. That doesn't negate anything, we still make the recommendation. Maybe their years of experience outweighs someone who applies that doesn't have the experience. It doesn't change, it only opens it up to the public, it does not change the decision of this committee, in my opinion.
I get what you're saying. It's gonna come out in the hiring process.
Yeah, I mean, we're still in control of this, correct?
We don't limit ourselves necessarily in the application process, but that will come out in the hiring process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Like I said, I feel we have, this is my opinion, we have people here. I don't see the point in passing over them and looking elsewhere if we know we got them here.
I'm not
That's why
asking
we
you-
made that motion the first time.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to overlook them, but at this point, nobody's applied, so we're not overlooking anything. And again, I don't even know these people. I mean, they might be some really stellar people within county government that apply, and we just say, you know, we've got a great candidate right here, and that's the end of it. I mean, I don't know, but I just, again, we all work here, we live here, and we're neighbors and things. It's hard for me to just say, people call me and they just say, well, you know, I hate it for you, but you can't apply to work. It's just hard.
Yeah, and I will say, I have had a couple people reach out to me from the public asking about it, so I have too.
You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but-
But again,
so-
at the end of the day, no matter, this committee makes that appointment. So if it's from within and that's the best candidate we've got, and we've got stellar people here and all that stuff, I'm sure that's how it'll end up. But at least we have been open with everybody. That's all I'm saying. Doesn't change the end result.
Any other discussion? All right, the motion on the table is to open Director of Finance applications to any employee of a branch of Smith County government, including county, road department, Board of Education, or any resident of Smith County, meeting those qualifications. Any other discussion? With that, I'm gonna ask Stacy if we could do a roll call vote on this, please.
Barry Smith,
Yes.
Jeff Mason,
No, because we said originally we would stay internal.
Cordell Smith,
No.
Justin Malden,
No.
Erica Ebel,
Yes.
Scotty Lewis,
Yes.
Mickey Barrett,
No.
4-3 no.
All right, so that motion fails. So we're back to what do we want to do with the application? So we're not opening it publicly, then I would ask, the next thing I would ask is, do we want to post internally?
Well, you've already done
We've already
that.
So
done it.
we just don't, so,
Restart.
well, I still think we need do we need a motion to follow that timeline or just roll with it then?
Motion to
You've
follow
already-
your timeline for internal candidates.
Okay. We've got a motion to follow the timeline that's already been adopted for internal candidates.
Second.
Got a second. Any discussion on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you received any applications?
No, it was only open 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we restarting the clock to give all the
Yes.
employees?
Yeah, that's what's on the time frame. So it'll be posted, it would be posted until March 1st. So, and we'll do the same, so what we did before is, we'll have HR send out a notification and we can send it to, the way we will do it is it will go to all the departments within the county. So we'll send it and it can be relayed to Mr. Smith for the Board of Education to disperse it to. Internally, our HR will be directed to send it out to all the employees, so that all the employees, it'll be posted, but it'll also be sent out so that they're notified that way as well.
When do you plan to post it?
It'll post tomorrow.
and then the deadline is
March
March
1st.
1.
And then that's what that March 4th would be, so that March 1st is a Friday, March 4th. We'll get with HR. I will make sure that everybody has the applications by close of business on March 4th, and then we can get you back together on March 7th, at that March 7th meeting. Here's the thing, this is, we get 10 people, do we want to interview 10 people? Do we want to narrow it down to 3? Whatever, we'll decide all that there, so.
I'm not gonna keep talking on that, but I mean, now we're down to, we're gonna take it from internal employees, and we've said we believe we have good candidates. So far as I'm concerned, if we get 10 applications from 10 candidates, internal employees, and we need to
Yeah.
take time to look at all 10 of them.
Yeah, we can, yeah. Yeah, we'll look at, all the applications will be reviewed, yeah, and we want to interview 10, that'll be up to the will of this body. So, we can cross that bridge when we get to it.
The interview process, will it be handled by all of us, or is it gonna be handled just by?
No, it has to be open
It's
meetings.
gonna be public too, don't it?
Yes, it is subject to open meetings,
Okay.
yep.
And can
Now-
it be to where that, like, one comes in, we interview them, they can leave, the next one comes in, instead of having them all here, I mean, they can sit in the other room? open?
Correct.
Is that, would that be?
Yes,
okay?
yes, we can do them one at a time. We are, yes.
So I won't just like be-
Yes, we are allowed to do the applicants one at a
Problem is,
time.
if it's streamed, they can sit on their phone and watch it.
Yeah, we can ask them not to, but that's the honor system.
Then.
Yeah, we're using the honor system in that regard.
Well, just throwing this out there, y'all, it really, I mean, I don't know that there's any way you can prevent them from doing it anyway. And actually, when they stopped years ago, when the state passed law to stop the public election of superintendent of schools, and you had to appoint a director, they had the public interview process at the old courthouse up there, and everybody that interviewed, when they got through, they got set in the crowd and listened to the next one, listened to the next one. So, I mean, either way, you're gonna watch it on Smith County Insider while we're doing it. We're not gonna, and we don't wanna hide anything. We're not hiding anything,
It just might be more comfortable for them to interview separately though,
I
too, than
think
to
it's
see the
better.
person they're interviewing against.
I think
It's a very unfair advantage.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't
Yeah, I
want
wouldn't
to
want
sit
it.
across.
Yeah, proper protocols.
Let me tell you why I'm better than that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
it's
would-
not comfortable.
And I think it detracts from something like if you're a candidate, you might be distracted from something you could share with us that would be valuable just because you're worried about the
Yeah.
person sitting over there.
Well, let me ask, we'll parking lot that, because we can get to that since we're not to that point yet, and we can further discuss that once we get to the applications, then we can decide how we want to do the interview process. This is just for the posting process now. Then once we get the applications in, then I think continue that discussion on how we want to do interviews.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Will you, we're gonna meet on the 7th to discuss the applications,
Mm-hmm.
correct? So will we be sent that prior to that so that we can kind of be looking at? it
Yeah,
before?
that's what that March 4th is,
All right.
that all the applications will be dispersed.
It'll be sent to us, and they give us a 3-day window to look at it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, and when we sit here, then that's the thing, we can set a date to do the interviews, whatever we want to do that date, so. That is a chance to review the application. That is not a set date to do an interview or hire somebody that night. That is just for us to review. But until we know how many applications we have, I don't think it's appropriate to necessarily schedule the next steps. Any other discussion? Motion on the floor is to post internally and to hire this time frame. I'll read it publicly so that it's on the record. The Director of Finance position will be posted tomorrow, February 9th. The application window will be open with a deadline on March 1st for applications to be submitted to Smith County Human Resources. On March 4th, the committee will receive the Director of Finance applications. And then on March 7th, we will reconvene again to go over the applications and then determine next steps in the hiring process. Any further discussion? Stacy, if you would, please do a roll call.
Barry Smith,
Yes.
Jeff Mason,
Yes.
Cordell Smith,
Yes.
Justin Malden,
Yes.
Erica Ebel,
Yes.
Scotty Lewis, Mickey Barrett,
Yes.
unanimous.
All right. So that all passes. Next item on the agenda is going to be scheduling the next meeting. It's in the timeline, March 7th. I think we just schedule it 5 PM here again on the 7th, and that's the way we'll get the next steps in the hiring process with reviewing applications. I would ask for a motion for that, unless somebody wants to meet between now and then.
Yeah,
All right, motion by Mr. Lewis, second by Mayor Mason. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? All right, the ayes carry it. Motion passes. I just want, is there any other questions before, I will say this, I talked to Ben Rogers, he had a meeting in Nashville with CTAS, Brian Berkland with the comptroller's office. Neither one of them were able to hop on via Zoom or be here. You have a packet in front of you. This packet contains CTAS information on the Financial Management Act, or County Financial Management System of 1981. It includes the county policies. I pulled, and if they're wrong, y'all correct me, I pulled the fiscal management policies that were posted online for the Board of Education. If they're wrong or something's on there, please let me know. I pulled them yesterday. I just pulled everything that was listed under, I didn't look at them, to be honest, but I just pulled them, that way we have them, so that way, because again, y'all don't know how we do things, I don't know how y'all do things, that way we're all on the same page. Well, again, we're not gonna be looking at policies and procedures for a while, but again, that way you can be familiar with it, and be able to look over it.
Right now, it's just not how we do things, how y'all do things.
It's gonna be how we do things, yep, and that's the thing, that's why we gotta come together and get it done, and, there's also, a listing of all the statutes pertaining to this system listed in there as well. Yeah.
Mr. Turner, you may want to step in here. Now, of course, you know, I've got, before you pass it out, I've been studying the CTAS 81 Act and all that. But in the responsibilities that we have set in this committee for the director, it doesn't say, CTAS is clear in the statute that the director will hire the other employees.
Mhm.
All right, so, but it doesn't say that in their list of responsibilities that is set forth in this document that the committee passed. So my question was, you know, is the director going to be hiring employees, and if so, should that be added to their list of responsibilities? And if so, are they gonna hire those employees subject to the?
They'll have to, yeah, they're gonna have to abide by the agreement.
Well, I mean, are they gonna hire those subject to the approval of the committee?
So, the way that the finance director will work, so I'm gonna use how I know things operate in the county. We have multiple constitutional officers. I'm gonna use Mickey, for instance. Mickey is, as a constitutional officer, he has his budget, he gets to do whatever he wants with personnel. He's in complete control and charge of that. And every other constitutional officer is. Department heads are the same way. So, you know, our EMS director is in charge of personnel within EMS. And so it will be the same way. And you correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, attorney. The finance director will be the same way. The way that this committee is set up, and we had previously discussed this isn't a committee of the Smith County Commission. This is a statutory standing committee of Smith County now. And the finance director reports to this committee, but the employees of the department report to the finance director, but we make the policies and procedures, right? County commission, just like with everything else, does control the budget in regards to that, has the approval to vote it up or vote it down.
The
So there's-
discussion, I had somebody asked me today, will the finance director be in charge of hiring their own people within their department?
They'll be in charge of the staffing, but we can set policies and procedures, so to
It's in
influence.
here
Yeah.
Yeah.
under 407 here.
Technically,
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
technically, they've already, because if nobody's gonna lose their job,
Yeah.
you've already got a group that's hired, you got a group of people that you're gonna make, so,
Yeah.
After going forward from there, new hires.
You were gonna,
Well-
you were gonna,
And to remember, in 521-107, it does say the director has authority to hire personnel for the finance department, but it has a provided that they are funded for the
Correct.
budget, and provided that the ones hired meet the job requirements recommended by the director and approved by the committee.
Yep.
So the committee you know, the director, whoever they may be, will present job,
Well, the-
requirements, and part of that, obviously, will have to follow the settlement agreement
Right.
that we're all bound by.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And so
saying.
that will, there is some,
Approved by the
And
committee.
then
Yeah.
you approve that.
Yeah, we approve those job requirements as part of the policies and procedures, so.
The only reason I ask those things, where my brain is at, is because, it's kind of like building a house. If we get a good foundation, this house will be fine. Do I want to micromanage something? No, I do not. I mean, I've got all I want. But I think we would all feel the same, that like anything, baseball team or restaurant, whatever, when you first start out, if you want to be successful, you have to kind of keep a keen eye on things. And I don't want to tell the director who to hire or whatever, but I think that, he said it, we said it to our approval or what have you, so that answers my
the job
question.
The job descriptions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Like when the school director hires somebody, he provides us a list on stuff and we vote to approve or this or that. I don't want to micromanage a director. If we hire one, then obviously we've got confidence in them. But I just want us to, first few months, I just want us to get off on a good start and just kind of keep a keen eye on things and communicate and all that. We've got great employees already ready to go. I don't know, that's the reason for my question.
Well, we know who the employees are gonna be
Yeah,
because,
well.
so,
Unless somebody quits and you, yeah.
Well, I don't know who the employee's gonna be. Well, you mean, they'll be either county
You got
employees or
5 at the
board.
school board that's already working, you got 4 at the county that's already working. And so we've already said nobody's gonna lose their job, so the department's already said if those 5.
If they apply.
yeah, if they accept.
Yeah, if they accept
and
employment,
there's no
yeah.
application or anything, it's if they accept the job. Now, 6 months down the road, somebody quits, then the director will have the opportunity to hire the next person.
yeah.
But they're going to be restricted to hiring from that pool, correct?
Oh.
Is that what you're saying?
So initially, through the implementation, and that, if you notice on that implementation timeframe, it does specifically spell out, this is when offers will be made to the Board of Education employees and when they need to respond by. There's like a month. And the reason that's in there is because if some employees choose not to come over, and that's their, then the finance department needs to know they gotta hire people,
Right.
potentially, so,
That's the reason for my question.
yeah. So, but yes, we hire the director of finance and we approve the deputy director on the recommendation of the director of finance. But other than that, as long as it's within the approved requirements and policies and procedures, the director has that authority. Anything else? It's a good question. Anything else before we adjourn for the evening? All right, so meeting reminder, we'll be here on, I don't remember what day it was. I wrote it down. On March 7th, 5 PM will be the next meeting, and we'll do that here at the chamber. I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Got a motion, second?
Second.
All those in favor? You're adjourned.